Hi, welcome to the Ladybug Project. My name is Kara Adams. I'm the author of the Little Yogi series. They're a series of books that help children that have been through trauma, teaching them how to breathe and focus on learning new things. And with me is my co-host, Alyssa Catherine Vine Hodge, who is the author of The Sense About Madness, incredible book for those of you that might have experienced or know someone that's experienced sexual abuse. But it's a raw look, it says it on the book, a raw look at child abuse, sexual violence, and mental illness. An incredible read. It's a very short read. I think what stuck with me the most was it took me a couple weeks to read because I was processing my own abuse that I experienced as a child, but it was a healing process. So these books are only $10. Alyssa's book's $10 on Amazon, and my books are $10 on Amazon. So check them out. And also there's a link to our websites in the upper right-hand corner of this YouTube channel. So if you want to check that out, you can go there, and we will be starting our blog this week, right, Alyssa?
Mm-hmm. Yes. A website just for the Ladybug Project itself.
Yes. In the Ladybug Project, we are here to raise awareness for the small and silent, for those that are not spoken out about the abuse that has occurred to them, specifically child molestation. So, and me and Alyssa are both survivors, and that's why we're here. And we started this to raise a voice for those that have not one or haven't found theirs yet.
So the website that's upcoming will have resource links, personal blog posts, and information about things that will be happening with the Ladybug Project.
Yes. So today we are continuing on. Last time we were on here, we talked about signs to look for in children, what to look for, signs of abuse. And we labeled like sudden behavior changes, like if they're having trouble in school and they're not doing so well all of a sudden, they're moody, they're angry. We also talked about self-destructive behavior, some children that hurt themselves, cutting and different things like that. Changes in their eating habits. Children like either lose their appetite or start eating more. And that tends to go into adulthood. A lot of these signs and symptoms can continue on throughout their lives. I know for me, it was a reoccurring nightmare that I had for 20 plus years. We also talked about stomach aches and illness, but there's no there's nothing to identify as the reason, the cause. So sometimes it can be something like that. Resistance to removing their clothes and in appropriate settings, like if they're just going to take a bath or something and they're fighting that routine because they've been through a trauma. So those are some things we addressed last time. And today we wrote down on a whiteboard what you can look for. And also we put the website, it's called www.preventchildabusennc.org. That's for North Carolina. Alyssa found this flyer, which is awesome. And it has all of these signs to look for. And of course, there are more than what's on here. Every child, like every person, is so unique and so different. So if you see any kind of change, just being in tune with your kid, like, personally, when I talk to my kids, and I know we're very, very, very open. My kids pretty much tell me everything, and I love and adore that. And but that's not normal for a lot of parents, I've heard. And but my situation is different. So I taught them at a young age, and there's a lot of parent alienation that went on in my circumstances. And so I call my kids, or they call me, and like we can constantly try to make that effort to communicate. But a lot of kids, they're scared to open up because they've been threatened or they don't know what's going on. So they don't know how to talk about it. And so sometimes you'll see them draw pictures and different things like that. For me, I started withdrawing myself. I would read more books. I didn't want to go out and play. I would be depressed and I didn't know it. I would be in bed. And So Alyssa's an angel today. She actually helped me because that depression doesn't leave you. It just doesn't go, woohoo, bye. Right, Alyssa? Sometimes it, like I said, it can be a lifelong effect. People are like, oh, but you're so happy, you're so joyous, you're this or that, Kara, you're hyper, you're this. But a lot of people don't realize I suffer from depression. It started happening when my father passed away in 2009. And but I noticed, I was thinking about when I was younger, and I actually have probably dealt with it my whole entire life. And so today's one of those days I really didn't want to get out of bed, but I had a great friend call me, and she's like, hey, let's do this. I'm like, okay. So if that's too much for you guys, sorry. Okay. Alyssa, you want to talk about some of the other signs to look for in abuse in children?
Yes, so just a couple other ones to touch on today. Your child could have an abrupt fearfulness of a certain place or a certain person.
Yeah.
I know that one happened to me a few times that my mom can remember. And when I was older and even after the abuse, that I just saw someone in the store or that reminded me of a perpetrator. And we didn't know at the time that's what happened, but I was just suddenly very afraid and didn't want to interact with certain people. Difficulty sleeping or recurring nightmares. I think that's one that so many victims experience, and it does stick with you oftentimes through adulthood. Let's see, unexplained gifts, money, or privileges from an adult or older friend. So this can also be in the form of time. A lot of perpetrators, the goal for them is to isolate the victim and spend as much alone time as possible with the person. So if you notice that someone has come into your child's life and just has a routine of spending time with them, do a pop-in visit, and like Kara said, keep that communication open. This pamphlet has additional information, not just the signs. It actually tells parents how to keep communication open with your child, how to talk to your child, and what to do if you suspect abuse, to contact the police or district attorney's office, talk to your children's doctors, and it just gives you lots of helpful information to handle abuse. So the one thing that I would leave you with for today is that these signs are your child talking to you about the abuse. Your child may never be able to verbalize the sexual experience, but if you're seeing these signs, that is your child telling you what happened. So it's important to look for those signs, to know the signs, and just be aware of who is spending time on a regular basis with your child, because most of the time abuse occurs from people that we know and trust. And I know we hear that over and over again, but I just don't think it really sets in with us. We don't want to admit that hey, it actually is most often the people that we care about, love, know, and trust who are perpetrating these acts against children. So we will keep in touch with you about other points regarding this issue.
Yes.
Thank you.
And really quick, for those of you that have been abused that are adults, and you've been through that trauma, anything can trigger it. Like, I didn't realize, like, I've been very depressed lately, and it's probably because my predator's birthday was February 14th. And so, like, certain times of the year, things can pop up. And if you're not paying attention enough, you're just like, why is this happening? Why is this going on? And so that can just being aware enough to go, okay, what is this time of year? What happened this time of year, maybe in my youth, or things like that? Just because some things don't just pop up out of nowhere. There's always something that's going to trigger. And we just have to learn to be sensitive to that and understand it. And I love what you said, Alyssa. such validation. A child is telling you through their actions. Most people tell us things through the way they act, the way they communicate with their body language. They're telling us, because being a child, like the Ladybug Project, is for the small and silent. We say silent because they don't know how to voice their words. They don't know how to put their words together that make sense, that can freely flow from them of what's going on. And so, you know, my children are older, and I don't believe they've suffered any traumas, but they communicate with me because they're older and they've learned how to put all their words together articulately. So, but when they're smaller, it's quite a challenge. So please look that up, www.preventchildabusennc.org. Check that out. And our goal is to raise this awareness. And if you want to tag team with us, I've offered this the past couple times we spoke. Please contact us. You can contact us through this YouTube site. You can contact us through our blog that we're going to be starting. You can also contact us through our individual websites where you can order the books. And we're not just about ordering books. We really want to tag team with other counselors, with people in the community locally, and we want to take this globally, because this is a huge time. A shift in the earth is going on with impacting the lives around us, and knowing that with the Me Too movement and with everything going on, people being degraded, no one needs to be degraded. It's not just about female versus male. It's not just about politics. It's so much more. It's on such a deeper level of humankind, what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make sure that everyone's voice that needs to be heard, which is everyone, it needs to be heard. And that's what we're all about. I don't know. What do you think, Alyssa? You agree with me?
I do. Yes. And to create a safe place for all people to speak and for all people to heal, as well as perpetrators to be able to heal and break the cycle. So I have hope for the future, and that's what this project is about. So finding hope, even though it can be difficult, holding on to that hope and helping one another.
There are, I learned over this past week, there's like symbols at certain stores. So if you are being abused, if you see that symbol at the store, you can go into the store and it's a safe place to go to, and they will contact who needs to be contacted for your safety. So we're just, right now we're addressing, what to look for. And then we're going to be talking about predators. Then we're also going to talk about how to get to a safe place. So, and that's why we love having counselors on here. We've had Megan and Renee, and they've been wonderful, and we're hoping to have them back, plus some more. All right, you guys have an amazing day, and we will see you next time on the Ladybug Project.